everyone, it's Cal. I hope you're doing well. I'm here today to talk about rebuilding life after the Kundalini. This was a question a subscriber had, and it is such a good question because that is what I have been doing here for the past couple years. Actually, I've been working on it for longer than that, but it is no easy task. Sounds easy, but it's really hard. It's a slow-moving process. It's baby stepping every step of the way. The main thing is regulating the body. The body needs balance because what you've done with the Kundalini is you have harnessed energy above and harnessed energy below, but it's fragmented. It hasn't quite found its place. And so your body needs balance, which is acquired through regulation. And the mind, throughout this regulation, the mind needs to focus on humility and compassion. Compassion is the height of the dark force as it ascends through your body. And humility is the extreme state from the light force. That's where you get ego from, as it descends down through the body to reach the mother force, the force that is in the planet, the mother force. It's in the planet, it's around the planet, but it is heavily consolidated within the planet. And that's what you've done. You've harnessed these two forces, and if your mind can stay focused on humility and compassion, all the doors open for you. I mean, this is pretty much for anybody, but it's certainly for those who have achieved the Kundalini. You need to focus every day on these two forces with a certain amount of discernment, and as you work on bringing your mind and body into a state of harmony through regulation, which creates balance. So again, you've harnessed the sun energy and the deep darkness that resides within the earth and the cosmos. Earth and sun, dark and light, negative and positive. This is how you're reconciling all the opposing opposites within yourself to consolidate, to harness all the force and consolidate it in the center, because now you have harnessed the bridge. Okay, the bridge here, the bridge there, the bridge here. You have harnessed it. It is connected. So you want to get all the traffic, so to speak, within and flowing in those two directions. Because now you are your own solar system. You are a solar building system, and you have created the bridge of conductance. So I just want, at this point, I want to clarify something about the Kundalini. You can't just acquire the Kundalini over lifetimes. I think I talked about that in some of the videos, but I left out a couple really big details. You get the awareness about it over a lifetime. So it's the awareness that is building all the time. Life and death does not take you to the Kundalini. It brings you to the threshold of it, to the threshold of the awareness, and then you do it. The Kundalini can't be harnessed in death. It can only be harnessed through the light of day, the light of the system, meaning you must be participating in the sun cycle, which is life, and do the Kundalini so that the darkness in your being is forced to eclipse the light within you and bond your mind-body, which creates the bridge. This is a form of cold fusion, which creates the fire and dove effect, which is at the brow chakra of the Kundalini, when you're burning in the fire, and then the nimbus, or the halo, white halo, is created by the dove that comes. Okay, this is the mother, and you're being crowned. This is kind of like a thorny crown because the way it moves is in a zigzag movement this way. More on that at another time, which is the same movement that goes through your body, which is a zigzag this way, and it has been recorded as the meridian wheel. More on that at a later time too. And when the darkness eclipses the light of your body, it's moving in a backwards movement in the opposite direction of the cycle, and you are switching over train tracks, okay? So you've done the Kundalini, and right now you are a galactic baby. Now you need to learn to harness this energy and control it through the mind and work to move into adolescence, which is controlling all the elements. It's a fabulous future that you have, and regulation is the key to it. Just remember, the mind cannot do anything without the nature body. Nature has the power. We want to harness the power from nature. This is the key to everything. So understanding nature is critical, and following the laws of nature is critical. The mind is a baby, and the body is the power source. The nature body is the power source. The particles that make up the body are ancient, and they hold great wisdom. And when you violate the body, you violate your power source. It's that simple. Life is not about being puritanical. It is about harnessing energy. And but the act of being puritanical creates the correct vibrations that raise awareness to the state of wanting to begin the bonding. So if you understand the laws of nature and how they relate to the earth, the solstices, moon, and the stars, then you're beginning to understand what Christmas is really about. It's about a system that you have been in for thousands of years to finally reach the big crescendo, which is cosmic awareness and cosmic power. So now you balance your power source so that you become like a battery with a positive end and a negative end. And regulation will stabilize the vortex to acquire the energy efficiently to be directed by the mind. Okay. So that you could acquire more power efficiently and signal the cosmos more accurately. So let's talk about regulation, because regulation is something that I have struggled with my entire life. And hot and cold out here. I'm in the little cabin that I'm always in. It's having massive work done, but it's hard to get in there because the construction guys are always in here. But it's the one place that I have a privacy. So this is where I come out here to talk to you. So let's get back into regulation. Food. Right now I'm working on regulating my food, and it has been very hard. I've been working on it for 2 years. I've been doing everything wrong. Of course, food must be healthy and it must be balanced. Everything about your being needs to be balanced. So I went to a very particular nutritionist. I can let you know who that is if you're interested. Although I have always eaten super healthy, even though I suffered from a lot of afflictions, one which was alcoholism, I needed to go to a nutritionist to balance the diet properly. It's not easy. It's hard to do, and I'm really struggling with it. I've got the diet going now, and it's really interesting to see the outcome of a really balanced diet and adhering to it in the beginning, because what you're doing is you're purging all your food addictions as well. Like I have food cravings and food addictions, not for Cheetos or chips or sugar foods, but for a lot of really healthy foods. However, if you don't eat it in balance, a lot of things can, you don't feel totally 100% right. Let's just say it. That's the biggest symptom, really. And when you begin eating a very balanced diet, you start feeling better. And of course, feeling better is always the key, isn't it? So getting the diet right is tricky. And so I'm working on that with a nutritionist because I have learned I don't know what I'm doing. So we're working on that, and that's interesting. Sleep needs to be regulated and deep. Okay, you may have to work on this. I worked on this. I like to do everything naturally. It's hard. I don't supplement with anything, and I don't take any drugs and never have. Never have really. There have been, I think, 3 instances in my 20s or 30s that happened. But as a rule, I don't take supplements. So working on this naturally, because you want to be, I feel, you want to be in harmony with all that is, okay? And nature has its own essential state of balance. So working on your sleep, it's got to be regulated and deep. You have to work on a little bit by little bit by little bit by little bit with all sorts of things. And that means, for me, it meant like no electronics for at least 2 hours up to bed, having a little bedtime routine, also getting up in the morning, making my bed. There are all these things that I'm slowly working at because I am an artist and I live in an artist's world, which is full of vitality, but also it's like this. So we're trying to bring everything down to be balanced, and we'll see how that goes. Exercise. So this is actually another big deal. Okay, these are all big deals. These are big deals that we all take for granted. Exercise. You need to build strength after doing the Kundalini. Okay, so it's strength training. This means anaerobic exercise. Because if you've done the Kundalini, your heart is strong, okay? That's cardio. Your heart is strong, but the mind that exists throughout your body needs strengthening, okay? Because it is the child. So mind, again, only the king and queen live up here. Mind exists all throughout your body, okay? And when you do anaerobic activity, you are strengthening this mind. You are bringing it into alignment. All right, so I believe in anaerobic activity, and for those reasons that I've told you. Work needs not to be so challenging. I had an incredibly challenging job. I've had many challenging jobs. It is a time for you now to do as the Sufis say, which is chop wood and carry water over and over and over and over again until you love it, until you have got it down pat, okay? So you need a simple job that helps you create a routine, because it is not more important than food, sleep, or exercise. It is not. It is one of the components in the circle, and it needs to be balanced out. So right now, after having done the Kundalini, my mind shattered. I don't know about yours. My mind shattered completely throughout my body, completely. When I hit the starry grid, and there are stars out there that you can't see, old stars, they lose their light, but they are intelligent wisdom. The cosmos is fascinating. It's not a simple thing to talk about and explain. In fact, it's not really my topic. The Kundalini is my topic. So you need to have a simple job that creates a routine, not ungodly hours. I don't want to get lost here with what I'm telling you. I don't want to get off the path of what I'm sharing with you. A job should be daylight hours, and it should be reliable so that you have a routine every day, an hourly routine, not they call you and then suddenly you go. You don't want this jarring. You are trying to balance out. There needs to be a certain amount of serenity there too. A job is just something you do let your mind rest as you're doing the job. You know, there are so many people out there that we label greats that are living in super fragmented, unbalanced state. I mean, Steve Jobs was one of them, and he got cancer. I think he got cancer, I'm not sure, and it doesn't matter to me what the disease was. But what happens is, to the mind, when it's in this unbalance that is not balanced by the body, disease begins to happen. So you really want to be careful with yourself, and you want to get a job, a simple job that creates a routine, because you're trying to balance out and you want to be able to do all of them at once. Now that's difficult. This is why I moved to a farm, because I was in such an extreme state, and I began doing manual labor tasks, because manual labor is really the best thing to do, because it does not tax the mind. Okay, it builds the body and it doesn't tax the mind, and it's simple. Simple jobs are beautiful jobs. And also because the mind does not adjust well sometimes. For me, it certainly didn't. I was leaving everything that I thought was beautiful, wonderful, and fantastic. Really, it was a gigantic lie that I was leaving. But it was still hard to leave nonetheless. So the body, again, the mind does not adjust well, but the body will naturally readapt itself. Okay, so daily routines must be established, and slowly, okay? Slowly, not this big, crazy, all of a sudden overnight thing. You do it slowly. For example, this new nutritionist plan I'm doing, of course, does not work for me at all. It's a 180 from what I normally do. I'm not just leaping into it. I realized after looking at it, that's not going to happen overnight. I'm doing a little bit. So I'm working on, you know, morning coffee and breakfast, and well, we'll see about lunch and dinner, but it's slowly coming in to balance over time. Okay. That's going to help you get to your destination, is by going slow, number one, and two, creating really good habits. Really good daily habits. I cannot stress this enough. So daily routines, your daily habits must be established, and they've got to be on repeat. You're working up to them, okay? And once you've worked up to them, you don't go, okay, I've done it. You work up to them, and then you got to maintain them. The maintenance, that's where you really show your power, is in the maintenance. Remember, you are your number one priority. You are your number one priority. You can't take care of others or do anything for others if you are in a state of imbalance, okay? So make yourself number one. So when you get that on repeat, the mind is going to begin to relax more and more and find solace, and it's going to begin to naturally align to power, because what's happening with those habits is that you are slowly over time strengthening and aligning, because through the strengthening naturally comes alignment. So, and just another thing about the mind, okay, no TV, you want to shut that off. No junk for the mind. This causes misalignment extraordinary. So any app addictions, they got to be put at bay. And I know it's hard. Are you kidding? I've got 5 planets in Gemini. I know it's hard. And plus I've had many addictions: sex, food, alcohol, clothes, you name it. I've had a ton of them. And you need to go slowly. You need to lose these to come into true authenticity. That's where the true gold is. It's in balance. When you are in a state of balance, you are in a state of authentic being. And the mind is going to have to adjust, because, and you might find you have new friends too, because the old friends are kind of in love with the big imbalance, the larger than life stuff. And when you turn that corner and you move into that balanced state of true authentic being, it shows itself through humility and compassion. And you might find your friends are dropping like flies, but don't worry about it. Other true authentic ones are going to start popping up in being, okay? So the body will naturally avert after the Kundalini, because what it's trying to do is it's trying to balance the old way with the new experience, okay? Because remember, it's a 180 turn, right? It's a 180. The Kundalini is a 180. So you've eclipsed your being, you've done a 180, and now the body naturally, because of its inherent connection to the planet energy, planetary energy, her lines of conductance, but not just her lines of conductance. Something that all people miss is the negative force of her being, which is the darkness of her being too. These two, this invisible light plus the conductance of her ley lines, they're going to help pull you naturally back into balance. It's going to happen well, especially if you're trying to assist it through your own daily practices. And those daily practices, it is moment to moment throughout the day too. As you bring yourself, your mind and body into balance, as you bring it into balance, you will find your mind is clear. Your intuition is on fire. It is amazing how you know without knowing. But you need to be aware of your senses and their cravings, and they need to be quieted, because the mind body can be a beast, because all it wants to do is comfort itself, right? All the time through all sorts of things. And I can tell you that's not an easy task, reining those horses in. If you think of your senses as a group of horses and you're on a chariot, you're trying to rein them all in. And you probably have a lot of you're always trying to comfort yourself, especially if you've had a painful life like me. This is what I'm not complaining about, because I needed that to get through my karma. But then you may need to have somatic work done, such as I have, which is body work. Therapist for the mind, just to mention this, therapist for the mind did not work for me at all. I mean, at all. I went to so many thinking I needed this mental thing, and what I needed was actually a non-mental thing, which was a somatic practitioner, especially because I'm dominated by the mind, the 5 planets in Gemini. I needed a somatic practitioner to release all the trauma in my body, and I'm still working on it. So my mind, just one thing about this trauma, my mind is so unaware of the trauma in the body, but the body knows, and it's holding back. It's holding these traumas back from the mind, which is the baby, not to traumatize it. But when the body has somatic work, it releases it without injuring the mind. Of course, I've had all sorts of memories, horrible memories come back, but then, it becomes easier and easier to release over time. Remember, the body is, yes, it is your everything, really. It is your mother. It is your battery. It is feeding you the mind at every step of the way. So you've got to release, start a new life. I actually moved to another continent. Yeah, I do everything super dramatic. But I needed to do that just because I understood my astrocartography. I don't know if any of you do that, but I was actually born and raised on my Saturn line, so it was no easy place. But anyway, so there you have it. What you need to do is to regulate. As a matter of fact, everybody on the planet needs to regulate. But if you have done the Kundalini, you need to regulate more than probably anybody else I know, because you have pressurized your body to eclipse its being, which is go on a 180 and then come back. So your force is like this. And once you regulate, you strengthen the body, you build this force in here so that this power source, you're a conductor and you're using both power sources, and you're having inspiration constantly. Your awareness is amazing. I actually know somebody who didn't do the Kundalini, who has done all these balancing techniques his whole life, and he is super intuitive. Now, he doesn't have the force the force of power that people who have done the Kundalini obtain, but he has massive intuition, and the universe does answer him on a regular basis, brings to him, because of his balanced state, what he's wanting. But just remember, after doing the Kundalini, when the universe answers you, it doesn't just answer you, it answers you royale. Royale. That means, my friend, he's being answered. He's getting all the things he wants. Oh, let's say he wants a car. He gets a car. It could be a Pinto, or it could be, who knows, a Ford. But after the Kundalini, because the force is so amped up, when you bring into a state of balance, he could be receiving a Ferrari. He could be receiving some deluxe model of car. I don't know cars, but I just want you to understand the difference. There's balance, which you get answered from the universe, and then there's balance after the Kundalini, which you get royale. So there's two states of being balanced. They are both good. Being balanced really is the way, regardless whether you've done the Kundalini or not. Of course, I advocate the Kundalini because what a great challenge that is to be able to do. And it's, yeah, if you're into extreme like I am, then you would want to definitely give that a go. So again, without dragging this video on, because I'm going on to half an hour now, regulating the basics right now, which is work, food, sleep, exercise. Those 4 things are going to regulate your being. And then after that, you can go deeper. But those are the 4 big ones, and they are ever so important, ever so important. So regulation, coming into a balanced state so that you can begin to direct through your mind your heart's desires, okay? Now you will, over time, as you balance, you'll have a stronger and stronger, the connection is always there now, but you will have a stronger knowing, a stronger sense of connection as you balance will be forging between your mind and your heart. And your heart is the truth. That is where your authentic desires lie. She knows, that body, that woman that is your body, she knows. She is the maiden that lives in the cave that you think that you are protecting. But when you align with her, she will give you everything your heart, that is, your heart's desire will become so clear. So work on those 4 things and let me know how you're doing. And if you have any questions about this, please post them below. It's your questions that I come to make these videos for. So other than that, thanks for being here, and all of you take care. Bye-bye.